Hi everyone! Over the course of this week, I've had the absolute pleasure to interview Claire Contreras. She's a New York Times bestselling author who has written over 15 books. This interview was so fun and I can't wait to share it to you guys. So without further ado, I present our interview.
Hi, my name is Claire Contreras and I write contemporary romance and romantic suspense novels.
Okay, so I have about 6 or 7 questions for you. So my first question is, why did you choose to be an author as a career?
Okay, it's gonna sound dumb or cliche, but I didn't choose it. It kind of like chose me. I had a career. I've always written books, always. My whole entire life, I've always written stories. So I figured like it was just something I liked to do. I didn't think, and I always thought like, yeah, maybe I will publish one of these books. I have like, I had a lot, like 10 written maybe, like full. Yeah. And I said, maybe I will publish these at some point when I'm old. I don't know. I didn't think I would do it like as a career. I just figured it was something I would do like at some point. My dad was also a writer, so it was kind of like, he was always like, he didn't want me to be a writer. He did not want me to choose that as a career. So he was very much like, no, you need a real career and then you can write like on the side. Yeah. And that was like I guess the general notion of writing, like, you know, it's a starving artist's job. You don't want that. Yeah. So I just figured I'd do it when I grew, when I got older and I don't know, like my kids were no longer in my house and whatever. So when I started publishing, it was because one of my professors told me, she was like, I had an assignment and I ended up turning in one of the books. And she said, you turned in a full novel. And I was like, yeah, because I just had it. I might as well turn it in. And she was like, you need to get this published. And after she told me and a ton of other of my professors kept like insisting, like, you need to really consider this. And so, but still I was kind of like, no, they're just being nice. Like, they're going to publish me. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to publish it. I'll self-publish it and I'll see what happens. If anybody reads it, then I'll see what I do. And they were totally against me self-publishing. They were like, no, you need to go with a publisher. You need to do it the right way, whatever. But I didn't. I was like, again, this is something I have a job. Like, this is something that I just love to do. I do anyway. So I self-published it and I actually got readers and people interested. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I can publish my books. And it kind of grew from there, but so I don't think I really chose it as a career. It chose me as a career, but if I hadn't taken that plunge, I guess, I would have still thought like, oh, I'm going to publish a book when I'm 60 years old.
Yeah. That's really cool that you kind of like just stemmed it from a professor that was like, you should publish it, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, that's cool though. So now that you've written a couple of books in your pocket, after your first success with your first book, how has life changed? You know, how has like your whole life, like, is your whole life revolved around the books now? Like,
I wouldn't. Well, first of all, I didn't have success with my first book. I didn't, or the second, or the third, or the fourth. Yeah, it took like 7 books before I actually got more success, I think. Yeah. And it took years. And not only that, I was already writing for years. So it was different from somebody who says, I'm going to start writing today and I'm going to publish this tomorrow. And boom, their career explodes. Yeah. That didn't happen. I have friends that has happened for. That didn't happen for me. So because I've always done this, like this is my escape. This is what I do. I don't think I could survive life if I wasn't writing, honestly. And I say that and I mean it. Like I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for writing. Yeah. So in that sense, it hasn't changed. Like I still write and I still want to write. I guess the thing that has changed is that I can't write what I want to write all the time. Sometimes I have to put what I want to write to the side and be like, okay, I need to finish this book for audio or for my publishers, or, you know, like I have to, it gets boring because, not boring in the sense like writing doesn't get boring, but it's a job. It's a job like any other job. It's stressful. Sometimes I want to quit. And because it's 100% from my brain, like for example, right now with coronavirus, everything stopped. I had to do distance learning with my kids. Everything it's a creative process. Things like this completely drain you of creativity. Like they just do. And it's kind of, it's hard. It's really, really hard because the pressure is on you all the time. So it's not like, oh, you know, I'm going to an office job and yes, there's pressure there and there's pressure from your peers and there's pressure from like higher ups. But you have a task, you need to do it, and that's it. With this, it's like 100% you. So I don't think it's changed, but
would you say it's definitely made you more stressful though? Like having to
for sure.
Definitely,
Publishing has. Writing, I don't consider it stressful because publishing though, like I think even once you publish one book, it's stressful. That's it. Like that's where the fun of it ends is when you publish a book. Then you're like, that's it. Then you get the bad reviews. Then you get, it's like it's a whole thing.
But I feel like, especially nowadays, it's extremely stressful because of a pandemic and, you know, staying home and quarantine. So I definitely get where you're coming from.
Yes, it's bad. It's so bad. Even now, like I finally finished my book in the middle of the whole thing. And then now I have to supposedly write another one. And I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. Like I don't. And every day I sit there and I have to do it because I have to, but it's hard.
I totally get that. What would you say your writing process is like? Do you say you like have a set number of words a day that you try and write it? Do you have like a set hour you write?
I kind of try to have a word count just because it's easier to have a word count goal than it is to say like, I'm going to do this for 5 hours and whatever comes out because guess what? 5 hours becomes 2 on Facebook and 3 on Twitter, and you know, like it's very easy to get. So I usually say, okay, I'm gonna write 2,000 words a day. Do I write 2,000 words a day? No, not most of the time. No, some days I have like a crazy day and I'll write like 5,000 words a day, and then I won't write for 3 or 4 days. So it's like it's really it's like one of those. But I do sit down every day and I do try to write every day, and even if it's just dialogue, even if it's just like a little part of a scene that I may never use, but it has to be for that book, for that story, because I need to be like in the mindset of those people. Otherwise, like I would have written the book. But I do. So I usually try to get up like before my kids get up. Write for an hour or two, like by myself, quiet, and then once they're up, it's like
crazy.
I have to try. Like I have to figure out when I can ignore them when they're watching a movie. That I'm like, okay, you're watching a movie now. I'm gonna go do this. So.
So do you ever use personal experience as inspiration in your books?
Yes. Usually conversations I have with people or things I overhear, like people talking about, and then I'll ask like, oh, hey, what is that? Or maybe I don't ask. Maybe it's a stranger that I'm listening to and say something, and then I just make up my own thing. But every single thing, as fictional as it may be, it's always like stems from reality.
I think that's really cool too, because you can take that as like inspiration and like somehow make it like and broaden it into your own world and your story. So
exactly, it is cool, and it's like nobody has, like, me and you somebody can tell us something, and we're both gonna interpret it completely different. It just, that's how it works. And then you write your own story up, and then I write my own, and we're like, oh, wow, you got that from that? This is what I got.
Yeah.
So
it's extremely cool how, like, minds definitely think differently, and, like, how people even think differently, you know? It's very cool for me. Yeah.
Very cool.
So, who would you say is your favorite character to write about, and why?
Well, because I write different characters in different books, it's not, you know, like, it's not like a long-standing series where I can say, like, that person's my favorite. But, and I said this a few months ago, and people, like, have been obsessing over it now, but I usually give my favorite character in the story green eyes. Yeah. And and it's like the weirdest thing, because sometimes it happens on purpose, or it didn't used to happen on purpose in the beginning. It just happened. And then now at this point, I'm like, yeah, they're going to get the green eyes, because, like, I like that character the best, or I relate to that person, or I don't relate to that person at all, which is why they're my favorite, because they, like, push me to, like, a new boundary, because it's just different. Yeah. So usually I do that, but I don't have favorite characters. Yeah. It's like, it's weird. I don't know. I just don't. They're like kids, I guess. Like, I don't have a favorite kid. They're just my kids.
Yeah. I like, when I'm reading a book, I can, like, either definitely, like, hate a character, or, like, just completely love a character, but, like, I all just, like, admire them somehow. You know, it's kind of just like, I still like you and appreciate you.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. It's very good when you can, I mean, that means, like, the author's doing a good job. Because that's the thing. You don't have to like the characters. You can absolutely hate them, but you have to kind of relate to them, or be like, I understand why they did that, even though I wouldn't have done that, and I totally judge them for it, but I get it. So that's it.
Yeah. So, okay, so, like, talking about characters, who would you say you relate to the most in your I'm just kidding. In your, like, any of your books in general? Like, as a reader, I feel like I can relate to the majority of the characters that the authors talk about, whether it's, like, because of their sass, or because of their attitude, or because they're just, like, hate life sometimes, you know? Yeah. So, like, who would you say you relate to in your characters? If any.
I think all of them, but I think I have a book called, originally it was called Catch Me, now it's called The Wild One, and the main character, Brooklyn, is 100% me at a point in my life. I wrote that when I was in high school. Yeah. So she was very much like, I mean, everything that I was going through, or a lot of things that I was going through, I fictionalized them, but it was very much my life. Yeah. So she's always going to be the one that I relate to. Yeah. I feel like most. And she has, like, issues with depression, and it's not a happy book, but it's very much, I mean, it has a happy ending. It's a happy book, but it's very much like light. Yeah. So I think probably one.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that some authors try and portray their characters as, like, having a very happy life, and they're just really, like, loving life and living it perfectly. And I feel like as a reader and, like, as a person, that's not always the case. Like, I have, like, deal with anxiety issues, and I feel like tons of other people deal with, you know, like, things in their life. And so, yeah, I agree.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So, in 3 to 5 words, how would you describe your upcoming book, Twisted Circles?
Messed up, suspenseful, and let me think. I don't know, I guess fun, but not because the book is fun, just because, I mean, like, not because what's happening is fun, but because it's fun to read. Like, you want to keep
like, you want to,
so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a lot of fun writing it?
I did. It's been a long time coming. Like, I've had this one in mind for a while. And I honestly, when I first got the idea, when I was probably in high school, like that long ago, this has been brewing. And I was like, I can't pull that off. And I knew I couldn't pull it off. So for years, the idea comes back and I'm like, nah, I'm not ready. I don't feel like I'm ready to do it. And then last year, I was having a conversation with somebody and I was like, oh my gosh, that would fit perfect in that story. Yeah. And I kind of like started jotting down like a ton of notes. And then once I finally started writing, I was having so much fun, and then the pandemic hit. It was not fun.
Oh yeah, no.
Then it was just stressful, but I really do love the story for sure.
Yeah. I read your first book, and I did not like the twists and turns that the characters like Amelia had, and like I had no idea what even happened. Like I don't want to spoil anything in case, but I was just like, whoa. Yeah, I love it.
Good, thank you. Yeah, well, this one's even more twisty, I think. Like I think the suspense in this one is way more. Yeah. And in the first one, like it's very much like half and half romance and suspense. This one's more suspense than it is romance because there's so much going on. But I didn't miss the romance while I was writing it. I mean, it's there. But I didn't miss it like being like in your face. Yeah, like some because there's so much. Yeah. It's kind of like it's like a main part, but it's not the main part. Exactly. Which that's how I like my suspense to be honest. Like my romantic suspense. And I love romance and everything because I feel like there is romance in everything. Yeah. But sometimes I feel like it can't take the center of all the attention. It just can't. Yeah, I agree with you. So this was fun to write, for sure. Oh, definitely. So, in case for all the viewers watching, Twisted Circles comes out Monday, July 13th. So don't forget to go pre-order that now or get it. And thank you so much, Claire. Thank you. This was fun. Yeah, so sorry about all the audio problems. Oh, it's fine. It's totally fine. I mean, it happens. Yeah. So, on Instagram, I'm going to be posting this on Friday, probably at 4, mostly just because tons of my, like, followers are on it at 4 because I cyberstalk them. Okay. Well, that's a good thing. That's a good idea. And so if you follow me, you can get an update on it and all that's coming. Awesome. Sounds good. I'll repost it once it's on. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Bye.